think we're looking pretty good.
Excellent. Yeah, I just hit the record button. So if you want to intro us off, and then I'll get into the agenda.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's been on at least one of the other webinars. A couple people who don't currently do business with PremCom. Just to reiterate, we are a full service IT solutions provider in Buffalo. And large part of our business is voice. And what separates PremCom when it comes to voice is that we know the network side of things. You see a lot of local companies in Buffalo that just do voice, right? And there's a lot of finger pointing if something goes wrong, if there's jitter on calls or anything like that, and they don't know how to deal with it. Well, we're a MSP. We specialize in network security, network switching, all of that. So when voice came to our network, we took it on, and it's just a big plus for us that we do the network side as well. I don't want to take up too much time, Andy. As I said on some of the other calls, Michelle's going to be sending out a favor drop tomorrow. Everybody will be getting a couple bucks to a local restaurant in town of your choosing, whoever's on the platform. You'll be able to pick through some restaurants, and I think Vonage is even going to do a little prize giveaway or something at the end for you guys joining. So today we're here to talk about Vonage. We only sell the best in-breed vendors. That's why we only had 4 webinars this week, not 10, right? There's a lot of vendors out there. And since we came on board with Vonage, we've been very impressed and have nothing but happy customers. Unfortunately, when people hear Vonage, they think of the old home phone from back in the day, all the residential stuff. But you're going to see that Vonage has a business platform that's just as feature rich as any of the big providers out there. And they're growing fast and they're doing big things. So, Andy, I'll hand it over to you to start.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joel. Thanks so much. And we love PremCom. I've been working with Joe and team for a while. Joe, even back to the Paytech days when I was slinging ShoreTel, and you guys were a big ShoreTel shop. Have always thought the utmost of the PremCom team. We love partnering with people who are technology focused, and that's kind of our world. Like Joel mentioned, I'll kind of just touch on what we're going to accomplish today. Do a quick Vonage overview, our UC capabilities, our contact center capabilities, our CPaaS integrations and APIs. That's really what Vonage, the kind of the 3 prongs of the network that we're heavily involved with. I will turn it over to Hugh Harris to do a demo on our Teams integration that doesn't require a plugin. It's a really big play for us here at Vonage. I think if I'm on 15 calls a week, 13 of them are talking about how do I integrate my teams? And Vonage does a really, really nice job of doing that. We can also shift to our contact center offerings. We have kind of 3 different flavors here at Vonage, depending on the use cases. So we can touch on that in a really big popular product. This is something I was talking with Joel about when we were planning this out. Our conversational analyzer product within our contact center. It's a super, super popular product that we offer, and I wanted to have some of the folks see that if they haven't seen that before. And then, like Joel mentioned, we do have a participation giveaway. I'll flash up a QR code at the end of today's session. Cam, it takes you to a store, right? Where there's like a bunch of different gifts that they can pick from. I think I saw like a big golf umbrella and some other cool gifts, right? Isn't that how it works?
We thought it would be better to let people choose. So there's
cool.
A nice variety.
Excellent. Yeah. So I'll flash that QR code up at the end. I'll leave it up there for a little bit. You can obviously just grab your cell phone, get the QR code, go into the shop and pick a gift and send it out to yourselves. And then we'll kind of get into Q&A. So I really would like, obviously we're going to go through our offerings, but if there are questions from the group, of things that we didn't cover that you might want to see if we have any time left, or any just questions in general on Vonage and our offering. So that's kind of what I had planned today. Again, I am Andy Dwyer. I am the senior AE in the middle market, handling the Northeast here at Vonage. I have been in the IT industry for the last 16 years, going back to the early days of, like I mentioned, selling on-prem, Cisco and ShoreTel and Mitel and Avaya. And I have been in the cloud industry offering UC and CC solutions for the last 10 years or so. I brought with me Hugh Harris, our solutions architect, that's going to be walking through the demos today. I'll let Hugh do a quick intro on himself, and then we can kind of get things rolling with our Vonage overview. So Hugh, do you want to do a quick intro for the team?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hugh Harris. I'm a solutions architect with Vonage. I'm a member of a team of 20 nationwide. So as you register deals and as we come in and we look at the technical difficulty, me or one of my peers will be assigned to help support the deal. My role here is, of course, to support everyone in their sales efforts here, but also to make sure that I answer any and all technical questions and also demonstrate and show how the product will fit into everyone's enterprises. I've been with the company for 7 years, but I bring to the table over 25 years of telecom experience, all of them carrier-based. It's nice to meet you all today.
Thanks, Hugh. Yeah, so just kind of staying on track here with the agenda. I'm not going to PowerPoint you to death. That's not really the purpose of today's call. So I'm going to just start with a quick Vonage overview for folks that might not have heard of us in the UCCC space. Like Joel mentioned, I think going back to the early 2000s when Vonage kind of hit the streets and pioneered long distance home internet, that's really where we started and have grown into a global UCCC provider. We've always been really known for reinventing communications, have been around since 2001. Now with over 2,200 employees and 36 offices globally, and really have an ecosystem of about 850,000, or coming up on 1 million. Actually, I think the slide's maybe a month or two old. Coming up on 1 million registered users, with over 200 patents, and have won almost every award out there from analysts. The new Gartner Magic Quadrant has us in the top right corner. So this is really our world. We have dealt with some of the largest companies in the world that are all about technology and trying to reinvent their communications. These are some very brand familiar clients of ours with over 100,000 business accounts. So really what, from my standpoint, if you don't get anything else out of this session, think of Vonage as an integrator. Obviously, UC is UC. We do it really well. The 60 or so features that all major providers have, the voicemail, the email, the mobile applications, those are almost table stakes nowadays. But really where we separate is our integrations. So for folks that do have Salesforce in the stack, that is our ace in the hole. The Salesforce Contact Center was built on Vonage. They're our largest partner, and we integrate seamlessly with them. It's really actually fully embedded. It's not even really an integration. It's embedded into their stack. But we also do really good jobs, like we're going to touch on later, our Teams integration. We work with Microsoft Dynamics in integrating, obviously O365, ServiceNow, Slack, a lot of these popular CRMs that you would see out there. It's all about how do I integrate and get the most out of the technology that we have or a client would have within their own offering. That's what gets me out of bed and excited every morning. Like I said, I've been doing this 16 years. So anytime I can steer away from the UC side of it, which, has been very commoditized in our world, and really try and develop. When we have interesting conversations with clients that are looking to build, that's when clients should think of Vonage. We were purchased by Ericsson independently. We operate about 1.5 years ago, and that just opened the door for us to developers. I think we have over 200,000 access to 200,000 different developers. And that's really where we can start to build and have different conversations that separate us from, some of our competitors in the industry where they're just really, hey, here's UC and here's CC and have a nice day. I get excited when I get to grab a Hugh Harris or another one of our solution architects and we can start to integrate, whether it's an open API that we're trying to tie in and build something together that's unique. That's where Vonage really shines. So obviously we do the UC and the CC, but if there are unique, you might have a homegrown CRM that you built out, but it's standalone and you want to integrate it to your phone system and have agents that have screen pops with the databases. Those are really conversations that Vonage does really well in. I think of what separates us out in the industry. I'm going to turn this slide over to Hugh. Hugh is going to touch on how we're built. Hugh put together this slide for us just to kind of leverage the backbone of Vonage. We're not going to spend too much time on the how we're built, but I do think it's important to show the redundancy side of the Vonage network.
So the reason I put this in here is that I wanted to highlight that not all clouds are the same. Vonage, we've been around, as Andy mentioned, for over 20 years, and our mentality is traditional carrier. Today, it's too easy for a new player to come to town, order a little bit of server space on Amazon.com, and call themselves a carrier. With us, we have, like myself, carrier-grade engineers and architects whose background is carrier-based. And you see it here in this diagram. We have multiple instances. In the old days when people ordered telephony services, they expected redundancy from their telephony providers. We offer that here. We are housed in both Amazon East and West, which are the two Amazon's largest data centers. If Amazon East should go away, it rarely happens, but if it goes away, we fail over the West and vice versa, West fails over the East, right? But in addition to that, we connect to our traditional voice over IP backbone, and that is at the top. That backbone routes 1 billion calls annually. It is the backbone that we started with 25 years ago. It is a traditional carrier-based backbone with over 80 peers to different carriers. So I say that we are experienced around voice over IP calls. We hold the patents in residential voice over IP service. We are very much here to stay, and you can have faith that our engineering capabilities far exceed what our competitors offer in the same space.
Thanks, Hugh. Yeah, I do think it's important, especially when you're talking about voice, that you have a carrier and a network that is sound. I think we're up to 5 nines now. We haven't had an outage in 18 months. And that's important, right? When you're talking about voice, reliability and uptime is king. And Vonage does a really, really good job.
I'm going to go furthermore into that outage statement. We haven't had a core voice outage, meaning we have not, where we lost the ability to route phone calls, since our newest platform, Vonage Business Cloud, VBC, has come online over 8 years ago. There has not been a core routing outage. Occasionally, web portal here disappears. Occasionally, faxes are disrupted or what have you. Those are the other outages Andy's referring to. Mm-hmm. But our core backbone, dial a number, make something ring, answer the phone, that has not had an outage in 8+ years.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a lot of carriers out there that can hang their hat on that. Obviously, it's super important. We understand that. Reliability from a voice standpoint to our clients is key. And I think that's why we have so many clients that choose us, because they know, like you mentioned, the probability of an outage in our services is super, super, super rare. So that's why we deal with some of the largest and biggest companies in the world. So with that said, like I said, I really didn't want this to be a PowerPoint. It's all about the product. That's kind of what we're here to take a look at. I'm going to flip this over to Hugh, and he's going to walk you through our Teams integration, which is a really big play for us here at Vonage. I think while he's pulling this up, what kind of happened and with the trend that we saw within the industry, I think a lot of people can assimilate with is, during COVID, people were scrambling, especially if they were on-prem, and needed a quick solution to go remote. I think Teams was a really, really good play for that. And now that they've kind of shifted out of that, they want to, utilize Teams that they're comfortable with, and maybe not put the voice on it to have that true, all my eggs in one basket, my voice, my collaboration tool, my meetings all in that one basket. I do think that's why Vonage has developed with Microsoft our own offering, which does not require a plugin. So it's seamless to our end users that are utilizing Microsoft Teams. We don't charge for it, depending on the licensing that the client has through Microsoft, whether it's Business Standard Premium or E1s or E3s, that $8 per seat charge that Microsoft would charge. Vonage includes that in our normal UC seat. So it's a really nice way, I think, if there's folks on the call that are IT directors and they know they need to make a switch and they're worried about change. Nobody really wants to uplift a phone system and have to train a new staff or employee base on it. This is a really nice way. Hey, we utilize Teams. We're comfortable with Teams. The interface is clean. How do we make phone calls out to it? That's when our clients called Vonage and we help with those solutions. Hugh just pulled up the architecture of how this is built, and I'll let him explain, basically how it works.
This is the most technical diagram there is. And my goal here is not to wow and dazzle you with technical acronyms and diagram here, but there's one key thing I want to highlight here is that this is a partnership with Microsoft. We are not competing with Microsoft in this per se. Now, Microsoft does have their own phone system. We have our own phone system. As the consumer, you have the right to choose. But Microsoft is like, well, if they're not going to choose my phone system, I need to work with other people who's going to offer phone systems that are out there. And this is a partnership. And the reason why I put this diagram up here is I want to show you how that partnership works and how we're able to deliver what I'm going to demo here in a second. So really quick, this is a very simple left to right call flow here. Call comes into my network and is routed within my infrastructure, that diagram I showed you earlier, right? AWS, East, West, etc., and within my infrastructure. But then after all the routing magic takes place, call comes in, press 1, press 2, dial by name, whatever, and we determine it needs to ring extension 100. Hugh.harris@anycompany.com. He's logged into Teams. He's sitting in extension 100. We need to get the call to him. What we do is we pass the call off to Microsoft and their Office 0365 environment within Azure. They know where Teams is logged in at. They know if you're on your iPhone. They know if you're on your laptop. They know what IP address you're sitting at, what organization you belong to. And they will complete the call for us. So they will go in there and route the call directly to your Teams interface. This is a benefit to you as a consumer, to your customers, to your end users, because already Teams is functioning and you don't have to add any additional software. You don't have to worry about, is my firewall friendly or not? Do I need a software update? Do I need a plugin, a Chrome extension, a toolbar, whatever, insert name of acronym here, right? We work natively inside of Microsoft Teams. If Teams is working on your laptop, desktop, iPhone, Android, whatever, it'll work with us. And we make it very easy and very simple. As an added benefit, we do have the ability for you to mix and match. So should you choose to deploy Vonage hard phones, like a kitchen phone or someone who prefers a hard, sturdy phone instead of the software interface of Teams, we do allow you to mix and match our seats. Some of our competitors, it's all or nothing. Some of our competitors don't allow mix and matches. We do allow you to mix and match our seats. All right, enough about the boring diagrams. Let me get out of this boring diagram here. Now, if you guys have questions, please feel free to interrupt me verbally. I can't see the chat room, but if you throw something in chat, Andy will see it. He can either take the question directly himself or he knows how to virtually stand on my foot to interrupt me. My goal here is to give you enough information for you to feel comfortable with Vonage as a supplier. And if you have questions to that end, if you want to drill down to that end, please feel free to interrupt me. I want to make sure that we address these questions and make sure you're comfortable with Vonage. What you're looking at here is Microsoft Teams for my MacBook Pro. Again, as I mentioned, even though I'm running Teams on my MacBook Pro, Microsoft requires that we be compatible with all the platforms they're compatible with. So if you're running Teams on your iPhone, on your Android, on your Windows, insert name a platform here, our software will work just fine. Now, there's two ways for you to receive phone calls within Microsoft Teams. The first way is if you purchase from Microsoft the phone system license. They call it the phone system license. Everyone else in telephony, we call it a dialer. And what that is that if you click on this call button here, normally a telephone pad will pop up here underneath this part calls button right here. I don't have it turned on in this environment, which is why you don't see it. Microsoft developers maintain that dial pad, and because Microsoft developers maintain that dial pad, they're going to charge you a licensing fee. That phone system license is included in E5, or it's a purchased a la carte, $7-8, depending on what licensing you have and what your licensing agreements are. It's purchased separately. Technically speaking, it works 100% of my service. It follows that same call flow that you saw earlier. We are just compatible with it, and if you already have that license, we will work with it fine. But as an alternative, if you don't have that license, or if there's a large enterprise out there, right? Let's say you have 500, 600 seats, and the idea of you paying $8.99 a seat times 600 kind of turns your CFO's stomach over. You can come over here, and you can have the Vonage voice dialer installed. This is our dialer that my developers maintain, and we don't charge for it outside of the seat price for our service. It's included within our quote itself. We don't have a separate line item, and more importantly, you don't need to add more line items to your Azure bill. It's already built in here. The key difference, again, it's aesthetics, it's cosmetic. There is no technical difference. The call will come in, the call will still ring as we need it to. The key difference is, do you want the call, Mr. Customer, to come in down here and to manage the call down here within the call button? Or do you want the call to come in up here under the Vonage voice tab? That's the key difference. Another difference, and it's noted to point out since we do integrate with very large enterprises, because the Microsoft dialer is maintained by Microsoft developers, they've coded hooks into other parts of the other Microsoft products. So if you're using Microsoft Dynamics and you want the dialer to respond to Dynamics, or you're using Outlook, you want the dialer to respond in Outlook, the phone system license will respond and has automatic hooks within other Microsoft products. So that would be a case where I would say, Mr. Customer, if you're wanting to execute dialing calls from Microsoft Dynamics, you need to look at getting that phone system license. But if you're just using Teams as an endpoint, if you're just using Teams to receive phone calls, little to no integration, this is the platform here for you. Let me show you what an inbound phone call looks like on here. So I'm going to grab my cell phone, make an inbound call here real quick. I answer the call here. And you'll see the standard Teams windows popped up, right? Standard Teams window, the same one we all know and love, same user experience, right? Also, important to point out over here, your presence is updated. So since Teams knows you're on a call, Teams will update the presence to the Microsoft server. And I want to point this out because this is something that Teams does. Some other carriers, to update this, they require additional software on your desktop. No additional software is required from Vonage. This is a 100% autonomous solution with Vonage. Now, Grant, you are looking at a Vonage engineer's laptop. You will see Vonage logos and applications sprinkled all throughout here. This is an independent app right here. You don't need anything else from Vonage to make this work inside of Teams. I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions regarding our Teams integration or how we handle calls from within Teams.
The chat is clear. So I don't see any questions there, but anybody within the group here have any questions about the dialer? Good.
So the other thing that we can do, and of course, it's the running joke, right? The good thing about Microsoft is that they work with every developer in the world, right? The bad thing about Microsoft is that they work with every developer in the world. So you talk to 3 different carriers on how they offer Teams, you're going to get 3 different answers. The nice thing about the way Vonage integrates with Teams is that since it's my network on that diagram that's providing with dial tone, since I handle the call processing, no one else does, I can offer additional services like text messaging. You can click here to this app right here. This is a text messaging app, and this is actually my production telephone number. So you're going to see text messages I have with other partners from trade shows and stuff like that. You're going to see text messages here. You can send and receive text messages inside of Teams from your work telephone number. Let's go through a couple of use cases, right? Let's say you're human resources and you need to text an external candidate for an interview. You could do that from within Teams. Let's say, for example, you're a lawyer and you need to text your client, but not expose your personal cell phone number, right? Lawyers, they account for their time, they bill for their time, and it's important they have a very thick separation of church and state, right? A lawyer can text from the work telephone number, so that way he can account for his time when he goes back and looks at what cases he worked and when. And clients can text him on his work number, not his personal cell phone, right? So these are just some solutions that we have here. There are other ways to do it within the Microsoft environment. Again, I was making a light joke, but I wasn't kidding. You talk to other carriers and have other ways of doing it too. Vonage, our goal was to have autonomous applications all work within Teams, and anywhere you have Teams installed, you can do this on your own as well. I'll pause for any questions. They say in facilitator school, count an awkward 10 seconds. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Contact Center. Now you'll notice I pulled up a separate app for Contact Center. Microsoft is a phenomenal partner. We do a lot with them. I would say over 50%, maybe as high as 60% of the deals that come in that I engineer have some forms of team integration. But Microsoft, with Teams, collaboration is their #1 priority. Telephony kind of takes a back seat. They don't really code for it. It's not really a priority for that. And that's evident in really high-end call environments like a contact center or like a receptionist console, right? If you have a receptionist fielding calls. Teams is great. If you're an individual contributor, you want voicemail, you want call waiting, you want to call people in and out through the world, wonderful Teams for you. If you're a contact center agent and your job is to process calls from 8 to 5, and you're sitting at a help desk, or you are a bank teller at a mortgage company, it's one call after another right through your call center. Teams is not the interface for you. And we do have a contact center product with a very streamlined interface that lives within our own software package. So the nice thing about Vonage, we control our own software stack. We don't partner with external parties for our contact center. Some of my competitors, they partner with other people. There may be multiple applications, multiple contracts, multiple support organizations. With Vonage, it's all one company, all one software stack, all one support organization. And that's really evident here because while we're looking at Vonage's unified communications client, our contact center software sits here in hiding in standby. Over to the left, there's a little circle with an arrow at the side. We slide that out here, and there's a little button here that says log into Vonage Contact Center. Log into Vonage Contact Center, and let me hit the select button. I have multiple contact centers. Your customers won't. But when you log in here, you're up and running for Contact Center. The agent can signal to the cloud if you come in here that they're at lunch, doing paperwork, that they're on the phone or what have you. When calls come in and out on this contact pad, we're able to signal what number was dialed, what skills or what buttons they push, press 1 for sales, 2 for service, etc. Got the call to them. Why was this particular agent, why was Agent Hugh Harris selected for this phone call? My display will show that here. So all of it is built into one platform, and it can juggle multiple calls at once. Like if your contact center agent has to make an outbound call to leave the queue to make an outbound call, or let's say, for example, I'm a customer and I need to call my contact center agent back, but there's a line of 10 people in the queue. How do I get through to him? I have a way here. If I call that number, we call it a priority call here. This platform will show, hey, Mr. Contact Center agent, someone's reaching out to you directly. And it'll give the agent the ability to either, put the caller at the front of the queue, and his own voice will greet and say, hey, thank you for calling me back. This is Contact Center agent Hugh Harris. You're next in line for my next phone call, or please press 1 to leave a message. Or I could send the call to voicemail, or I could send the call back into the queue to another agent to help out. We have the ability to do that multiple juggling that Teams doesn't have. In addition, we can provide reports and dashboards to contact center supervisors and administrators. Okay, Agent Hugh Harris, he spent an 8-hour day, of which 6 hours are on the phone, 30 minutes for idle, 5 minutes paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. We can provide all those types of statistics and nice dashboards that help, a call center manager plan their time. Do I have enough staff? Who's at lunch? Who's busy? What are my hold times? What are my abandoned times? Things like that. So that's all evident in this product, where it's all in one platform. Again, if you don't walk away with anything else about Vonage from today, know that we're flexible. I have organizations where their contact center agents use this and everyone else uses Teams. Or maybe the IT staff and sales uses Teams and everyone else uses hard phones. Vonage, you can mix and match whatever the endpoint you need to fit your business case. We really don't mind. Our platform is platform agnostic. We can route the call to any platform or any endpoint that the customer chooses without any problems. Let me pull up what the contact center backend looks like. Here we go. That's the one I want. This is the contact center backend, and this is a post-call. So one thing I was asked to show you, and there's a lot going on here. There's dashboards, who's on the call, who's not on the call, what is my contact center performing at yesterday, last week, last month, how is it performing this month versus Christmas, whatever type you want to put in here. This is not a full contact center demo. But one thing I was asked to show you is, how do we go in and look at or coach individual people that are in my contact center? And I have the ability to come in here. Let me paste a little code in here. Oops. Let me go copy that code again. Perfect. We have the ability, a contact center manager can come in here, and a few things can happen here, right? The first thing here is that this is what we call conversational analyzer. This is a post-call analysis of what happened to your what happened on your contact center call. As soon as you hang up, my robot comes in and we scan in here, right? First thing we see here is that the agent spoke 36% of the time. Customers spoke. We even have a category here for talk over, if they're talking over to each other. We give some analysis statistics up here. How long were they in the queue? Talk time, hold time, time spent in IVR, etc. If we scroll down, you can see over here, if we scroll down, that I analyze the call itself. You can see little chat bubbles right here. Good morning. Thank you for calling Vonage Support Centers. I see that you're platinum. See, you can see that we itemize the chat. So you no longer have to listen to the entire call. If you're a QA agent, quality assurance agent, you can scroll down here and read what was said on the platform. In addition to reading what was said, I can analyze it. So if I come down here, I can see, okay, did we identify a complaint? And that's highlighted here in blue. If I put my hand over here, we can see that the agent said, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, why did the agent say I'm sorry? If I click on it, down here at the bottom, you can see down here at the bottom, customer says, I'm sorry, right? I can read the conversation, or if I wanted to, I can listen to the conversation. This is the call recording piece. I can come here and listen to the conversation as it started at the 38-minute mark. And as an additional option, you can see here that I'm recording the agent's desktops. This is a dual screen agent. I can record the agent. I think the demo I showed you was a joke we put together. This agent was watching YouTube while working with a customer. But we can record the agent desktop. Now think about this. If you're a call center supervisor, trainer, manager, and you need to get your staff to answer the calls faster, you need to see what they're clicking on or improve on processes, or even just improve the sentiment, right? Are they acknowledging I'm sorry? Are they reflecting the problem? Or are they being rude to your customer? Another really useful use case is if you have to read a statement, right? Let's say you're a financial institution and there's a statement you have to read, right? Old school way to see if your call center was compliant with reading that statement is that somebody would come in, sample 10 calls and say, oh, I'm at 100% compliance. This platform, I can give you a report down to the percentile. Oh, Hugh, your contact center processed 1,100 calls yesterday. You're in 99.1% compliance. It's that new hire, contact center Andy. He keeps missing every other time for that compliance statement. And that's why you're not hitting 100% compliance. We have these tools here to help you coach, mentor, and get your employees up to standard and spec.
One thing I think is super important here, Hugh, is that if you scroll up just a little bit, those hot buttons or filters, if you will, for keywords can be customized, correct? So if we are in a car dealership and we want to pick up on service or parts or specific brands, all of those bubbles can be uniquely tribal, if you will, to a particular business that makes sense. We're all trying to frame this in. There's a million uses for it. When would a client use this? The first thing is if they're recording phone calls and if there is a supervisor that is responsible for the health and progress or training of that call. This makes their lives infinitely easier versus call recording is not new, right? But talk to an agent, talk to a supervisor of a call center that doesn't have this, and they have to do a performance call review, and the call is an hour long, and they just hit play on the WAV file. Talk to them. Those people don't like doing that because they have to do it, and they don't know that what they're trying to get out of this phone call is 38 minutes into the call, and they got to listen, talk to the weather, and how is your day going? This tool saves those people an unbelievable amount of time, especially if that's their role. So when do we think of Vonage in this? If there are folks on the call that have contact centers that are recording phone calls and would like some alternative solutions to bolster and have some feature-rich applications, this is what our clients are calling us for. It's an unbelievably productive tool that we can tie ROI. I feel like in our world, it's always like, okay, this is nice, but how does it enhance what I am doing today? What is the benefit? I run ROI assessments for clients all the time. And this is the one when we start to drill into it where we can pick up a lot of time wasted.
ROI, compliance, or liability.
Yes.
Those are the ones. I have a collection agency. Boo, everyone knows that, right? I have a collection agency on my service, but they program this thing to look for legal terms. I'm going to sue. I'll see you in court. My attorney will be in contact. And this platform identifies those calls, and the company's attorney can log in and get ahead of the liability and say, okay, was my agent, did they cross the line? Were they appropriate? What is the problem here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think and another keyword here is obviously customizable. Each business has their own unique way of doing things. us understanding the call center of what hot buttons or words that are important to them. We set this all up ahead of time and can really drill into where those conversations are being had from an efficiency standpoint. So again, if you have, and it doesn't need to just be for large contact centers. This could be a very specific smaller contact center that does a lot of call recording that needs that functionality, or obviously larger contact centers where, they're doing 2,000 or 3,000 calls a day, and the supervisors have to really drill into the performance of those calls. That's super, super important.
I signed up a fitness gym this morning, and they had 15 agents in their contact center processing membership requests. It doesn't have to be hundreds, right? I have a gym here. Now, obviously, we're doing unified communications. We're also providing the phones in the gyms for just standard day-to-day calling, extension calling. But they had a small 15-person call center, and we were able to fit right in with that single pane of glass, that single software package, and able to help them out.
Yeah, so I think why we showed our contact center offering, everybody does it a little bit different. I think I kind of started this conversation by saying UC at this point, unified communications, is really UC. The feature sets are all kind of very repeatable from provider to provider. Where we can start to differentiate ourselves, and that's really my goal when I talk with clients, is how do I offer something a little different? Am I listening well enough to understand their business, to position product correctly? If you have a contact center and it's, kind of inbound and it's very basic, talk to providers like Vonage to figure out a different way, a unique way, something different to perform those roles and responsibilities. I think is crucial. One other thing, Hugh, that I think we should show here, as long as we're talking about contact center, can you pull up scorecards on there? You're on mute.
Rookie mistake.
I
don't think I'm in the right instance to do scorecards, but
okay.
We can absolutely, if there's a QA person, we can actually go in and absolutely scorify, gamify, however you want to call that. We can absolutely do that. Yes. Yeah.
Post-call surveys, things of that nature that offer that higher touch for contact center. That's the clients that we're really looking for here at Vonage. They're all customizable. They're all different. I've sold contact centers for 15 years. I don't think I've ever come across one that was a repeatable sale, meaning, it was a 10-person seat over here and this one's 10, and we can kind of rinse and repeat what we did. That's really not how this game works. We have industry professionals that do this all day, every day. That's all they do. And it's really diving in and asking the questions that are unique to their business to develop a solution. That's why we have all those developers on hand to really build something as opposed to it being kind of off the shelf. And that's really where I think Vonage separates itself in the industry. Again, think of us when it comes to Microsoft Teams, Salesforce integration. If you do have any of the other CRMs in the stack of Dynamics or ServiceNow or Zendesk, those are all things that are very popular within the industry. And you better believe that, folks want integration to that if they're not utilizing. So they already made the investment on the CRM side. How else can it work for me? Why isn't this integrated to my phone system? How expensive is it to do that? What are the benefits of that? Those are the conversations that we kind of have with our clients day in and day out to try and build something different. And that's what I'm really here to do, is to try and offer unique solutions. I know I've been working with Joe Griffo and the team for a while. I always like to try and introduce the art of the possible, and if it's not budget friendly or anything like that, but it's my job to inform and educate on what trends are in the industry. And, we're all in the tech world. Things move very quickly, and it's really important to kind of understand, is that a benefit to my business? It may not be, but heck, why aren't we exploring it and seeing if it does something a little bit different for performance? There's those commercials out now where the data is gold. And that's very, very true. Understanding through analytics and reporting how your business operates, and is there any gray areas or any gaps? The technology we really offer that visibility. I think that's the key word, the visibility into the performance of my contact center. So hopefully you saw something unique today. Hopefully you learned something new. Again, Vonage is really the industry leader when it comes to contact center integrations. Forget about the UC, we do it, so do a bunch of other providers. But trying to build something unique and different is really what we're all about. So I know we're kind of coming up. We got about 10 minutes or so. I wanted to turn it back over to Joel and the PremCom team. If there's anything that we else want to cover, open up for questions and answers. I do have the code for the Vonage giveaway that I'll flash here in a second, but I'll turn it over to you, Joel, and see how we want to.
Yeah, no, it looks like Alex actually put a question in chat. So they are a school. So he's asking about emergency announcements.
So the question.
Go ahead.
I just didn't know. I was just going to read. I have a quick question. Do you have integration for emergency announcement systems that will announce things over a PA to a school system? Yeah, go ahead, Hugh.
We absolutely support paging, right? So we absolutely support paging. But a niche market has come up for emergency PAs, emergency announcements, panic buttons on phones, all clear buttons on other phones, text messages to apps, that type of thing. A niche market has come up for that, and we're compatible with those providers. It'll be our phones that display the alerts. It'll be our phones that show the panic buttons and stuff like that. But on a very basic level, absolutely, I could do paging. The odds are, if you're talking to a school district, there's a lot of third-party solutions that work across multiple devices. Like if someone hits a panic button, a projector that's plugged into the network will automatically flash the alarm across the projector on the screen, things like that.
Yep. No, that's a good question, though. It's certainly a unique use case. Obviously, within schools, we do a lot within higher ed. Those are really fun conversations to kind of understand and learn unique features that are important to businesses. So, great question there, Austin. Any other questions from the group today? Again, Hugh Harris is an expert in almost all UCCC, so pick his brain while we got him. Chat's clear. I think we got most questions answered. Joel, do you want me to send you over the recording so you can get it to folks if they weren't able to join?
Yeah, absolutely. You could get that over to me and Michelle, and I'll copy you on an email to her just so you have her email as well. But I think, get that. Kevin, you finally won a prize. Is Kevin still on? Okay. Yeah. Everybody wins with Vonage.
Yeah, so
hey, I finally won.
Yes.
You can thank Cam Flaherty, our channel manager that's on the call here from the Northeast. Basically how he works in the roles. He works directly with our partners like PremCom for opportunities. So he's heavily involved in building the partnerships out and then discerns where the opportunities should go. Again, I'm middle market, about 100 seats to 1,000 seats, the role that I play. But Cam, this is pretty simple, right? I mean, all you got to do is scan the code that's on the screen. Can you guys see my screen? Is it up?
Yeah, it should give you a take you right to the website.
Yeah, pull it up on your camera. Get into the store. Obviously, if you missed this or whatever, you can always go back to the recording and scan it. There's a bunch of different things in there that you can pick at your leisure. And thank you for participating and thinking of Vonage. We love the partnership with PremCom. PremCom's one of the best in the business, has kind of owned the Buffalo and Western New York market for 30 years, Joel?
Over 30 years, yep.
Yeah, so we love partnering with them. They know their clients well. They know their needs well. And Vonage is just hopefully a feather in their cap that they can feel comfortable with trusting their clients to newer technology. So, again, thank you so much for the time today. Hopefully you learned something from it. And look forward to trying to solve some of your business needs in the future. I'll turn it back to you, Joel.
Yeah, no, we appreciate everybody coming. Andy, do you handle school systems? Do they fall under you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll probably be talking to Austin and the guys over at CSAT then later this year at some point. So can't wait to discuss that. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and make sure and grab your prize. And like I said, make sure and check your spam folder if you don't get a favor drop link in your inbox tomorrow. But that's it. We're done.
Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity to meet with your clients, Joe. Looking forward to helping develop some solutions in the future.
Yeah, no problem. You guys did a great job. Thanks, Hugh.
Thanks, guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Yep.
Take care.